Sometimes, a game just clicks for you, and this is the case for me with the Saints Row franchise. I don't remember the last time I've been this captivated by a video game series so quickly. It's the first title that pops into mind when you hear the open world game genre right after its inspiration in Grand Theft Auto. And if you grew up in the right era, Saints Row is synonymous with the Xbox 360. Almost every owner of the console had a copy of any of its games, proving itself as a worthy competitor to the aforementioned GTA. And with its interesting world, charming characters, engaging story, and fun activities, how can it not be? The point I'm trying to make is, I love this series, and in such a short time, it started to mean a lot to me. These games still matter, and they don't deserve to simply bite the dust and be forgotten by younger generations over time. Therefore, today I'm going to do something different, and I'll start talking about each and every one of these games, going through the highs and lows. We'll see if the very start of the franchise aged well, if it's worth playing, and if it's more than a GTA clone. Let's get to it. So, how did we get here? Well, according to a GameSpy interview in 2006 with programmer Alan Lawrence, it all started in 2003, believe it or not, way before the 360 was even announced. Originally, it was titled Bling Bling and was supposed to be released for the PlayStation 2. Of course, the name and the vision for this project were changed as technology advanced. With GTA in mind and a window after the release of GTA San Andreas and before GTA 4's, designer Chris Stockman saw an opportunity for success, admitting to taking a lot of GTA's design and even outright admitting in a 2025 interview that if Saints Row was released after GTA 4, it wouldn't have been nearly as successful. Also pointing out in a joking manner that he thanks God he didn't have to compete with Oblivion or Gears of War as well. And I gotta admit, the thought of Saints Row failing to rise in the first place because of bad timing sends shivers down my spine, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, one of the key philosophies when it came to creating this game was to allow the players to experience the game however they pleased. With multiple non-linear stories the player could experience in any order they wanted, with wackier activities for progression in contrast to its mostly serious story, thus creating a true open world, offering total freedom to the players. Everything matters in this game, from the character and car customization to the respect meter and the activities that increase said respect to continue the story. This is what sets Saints Row to be more than a simple GTA clone, and what Stockman saw as the differentiating factors that separated from its inspiration despite the very similar feel. Personally, I believe they absolutely achieved separating themselves from GTA. There's originality all over the city of Stillwater. The focus on gangs, side activities, and customization are the things that come to mind to help it build its own identity. The city of Stillwater was originally much smaller than it is. So the developers said, hey, let's quadruple this thing. So they did before reducing it to a more manageable size in the final version of the game. From then on, revisions began if needed, as well as balancing the amount of indoors such as shops and activities so no place in the city is more populated with content than others. All of this offers tons of places to visit. Of course, the aesthetics of the game are very nice. The row is grimy and has damaged buildings, the center of Stillwater has fancier looking buildings, and the weather progression is a really nice touch. Now, I'm no expert here, but the aesthetics of the game are very appealing to me. Every district feels distinct from one another. The character models encapsulate the era the game came out on in the best way possible, and overall, I just love the city of Stillwater, especially at night. It's a beauty to drive in Stillwater at night. There were bigger plans for these places and indoors, but some places had to be cut in development, resurging in its sequel. However, I'm getting ahead of myself there. Let's get right into the game. Once you open a new game, you're greeted by a character creation suite. You can use presets for each race for later customization. You can change plenty of things, the build of your character, certain aspects of his face, etc. Once you're done there, and I'm done unintentionally making the most Caribbean man ever, say hello to Latin Mike by the way, you're thrown into the opening cutscene. One that doesn't hold any punches on showing you what kind of city Stillwater is. It's shady, full of crime, and every citizen's life is in danger each time they step foot outside due to the various gangs spreading havoc around town. Whether it's the Vice Kings, specialized in strip clubs, brothels, and its record label in Kingdom Come, where they signed Stillwater's top star Aisha, more on her later, those Westside Rollerz, The illegal racers of Stillwater, and least interesting gang of the bunch in my opinion, or Los Carnales, a Latin gang dedicated to illegal firearms and drug trafficking. Members of all three gangs start opening fire after a dispute over some graffiti tagging, and the main character is caught in the chaos, about to lose his life.
Wrong time, wrong place, dawg.
However, he's saved by two of the members of the remaining gang and the one the game is named after. These men are Julius and Troy, played by Keith David and Michael Rappaport respectively, the leader and one of the lieutenants of the 3rd Street Saints. Troy is rushing to escape the cops, but Julius tells our protagonist, dubbed Playa, to come to the church if he wants to be part of the solution to this madness. And so begins the legend of the 3rd Street Saints. But first, you get to roam around the slums of Stillwater for a little while if you wanted to. There's a used clothing store aptly named Sloppy Seconds, a plastic surgery clinic named Images Designed, a liquor and drugstore which, by the way, don't heal like in the latter games, I learned that the hard way, called Brown Baggers, and not to mention, the one, the only, Rim Jobs mechanic shop. But you have no money or respect, so just go straight to the church before doing anything else. In there, Julius gives the Saints a rallying cry that the Saints will take back the streets. But in order to join the Saints, the most dangerous lieutenant in the gang, Johnny Gat, played by Daniel Day Kim,
Who the fuck's this guy?
insists that Playa must be canonized just like everyone else. This is how your journey truly begins. Being canonized means the Saints are going to beat the hell out of you in order to see if you're tough enough to be in the ranks. Once you defend yourself in impressive fashion, even comparing you to Johnny,
Shit took me half the time.
you go with Troy to bust a cap on some Vice King ass. This mission shows you the basics of the game in a very short time. How to defend yourself in hand-to-hand combat, how to use a gun and where to get them, earn respect and money by doing activities and killing gang members, you get gang or police notoriety when you mess with them, causing them to attack and chase you, and you stop at Forgive or Forget to have said notoriety cool down, which by the way, I think is way cooler than just waiting for things to cool down like in, say, GTA. Stop by at Freckle Bitches for fast food to heal you. It's all tied up in a neat little foolproof package. I'll try not to be too linear with the mission by mission commentary, but each mission moves the plot forward and matters, much like the philosophy behind making this game. Either way, after you're done with that, your next mission is a stronghold belonging to Los Carnales. Strongholds are non-storyline missions that reward you with respect, money, and neighborhoods. At the end there's a chase, maybe it has some wonky AI, but it's really nothing to write home about yet. Once that's done, Playa, Julius, and Troy, who got the unknown tip, go to the docks, where there's a turf war happening between gangs. You clean the house like Steve Austin, then escape or blow up the cops. After all of that is done and you're used to the game's gameplay loop, Julius hosts a meeting at the church, where he assigns each lieutenant to take care of specific gangs. Dex, played by Jack, takes care of the Los Carnales. Troy refuses to watch over the Vice Kings, keep that in mind for later, before Johnny steps in, and last but not least, a new member we haven't seen, Lynn, played by Tia Carrere, will go undercover in the Rollerz ranks.
Any other comments?
Yeah, when you punch, don't throw your shoulder so much.
Shut up, Johnny.
Hey, I'm just saying.
But enough explaining, just like Julius said, they'll have non-linear missions for you to play at your own pace and order after you earn respect with activities. Let's get this shit started. There's plenty of different activity minigames all across the map for the player to earn respect and money from. They all have different instances and versions for each gang, and each mission has 8 increasingly difficult levels to complete, with the rewards for completing these 8 levels and some more for completing every instance. The first one and closest you have from the church is a snatch mission, where the objective is to kill a pimp, sometimes in his limo, recruit the prostitutes like you would your homies, no seriously, and deliver them to a specific spot, all reliable if you want to get respect. Speaking of prostitutes and cars, there's also the escort mission, where she rides on the back of your car with a client and you have to drive while avoiding the reporters chasing you for footage. Later on, you have to make certain stops before continuing. Losing the journals can get pretty annoying at times, but you can't stop in order to pump them full of bullets or else they get footage. It can get pretty challenging once you're past like level 4, I wanna say. I like this activity though. Drug trafficking is exactly what it says to be. except you're protecting the dealer and client from the cops and rival gangs. It can get very challenging later on, but the good thing is you can switch cars and recruit followers, so it's not all bad. It's one of my favorite activities. I really like it. Remember Tobias and Laura, by the way. It matters way down the line. Hijacking is damaging an objective car until it pulls over, or you can just kill the driver, then returning it to the indicated garage before the cops get on your ass and destroy the damn thing, because you already put lead on it. I didn't do many of these until late in the game, and I gotta say they're way more fun than I remember. One of the most iconic activities in the whole franchise, insurance fraud, is about throwing yourself in harm's way in order to make money. You ragdoll yourself into cars to earn cash at a certain location before the time ends. It's a really fun activity when cars actually come by. Yeah, I don't know, it just feels like when you need them, cars don't exist unless it's at the worst possible moment. One activity that might be synonymous with the franchise just as much as insurance fraud is mayhem. In simple terms, you have to fuck shit up to score. Blow up cars, shoot pedestrians, run over property before the timer runs out. When done right, it might be the best activity in the series. Racing is just as it sounds, nothing more to it really. I didn't do much of this one, and neither did I do much of Hitman, where you have to find a certain target to kill, or Chop Shop, where you have to pick a target from a list much like Hitman and you proceed to obtain it, but it's with cars instead. Yeah. I throw in the loan shark activity there as well. You have to pay back or they get on your ass. Not much to comment there. And last but not least, Demolition Derby. You compete against 8 other competitors and you have to destroy their cars in order to win. It's pretty fun, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kinda bad at it. There's also robbing stores once they're closed, tagging in rivals, gangs, graffitis, and taking people in hostage on a drive-by. This all sounds simple enough and can be a lot of fun until you're balls deep in the game and need respect to continue the story after a difficult mission, but you don't have to worry about that for now. Getting back to the story, I'll go through it in the order I played it in. Vice Kings, Rollerz, Los Carnales. Let's get to it. Johnny explains it best, in concise fashion before being interrupted, so I'll just let the clip roll.
The Vice Kings are named after one guy, Benjamin King. And that shit don't happen unless you're a professional or a badass. And in King's case, he's both.
Until he gets a call and turns out Aisha's sister has been kidnapped by the VKs. So the mission is simple, you grab a car, follow the kidnapper of Aisha's sister, kill a bunch of VKs and get the girls back to safety. Kind of similar to the escort activity, which is one of the first minigames you'll be presented with in order to earn money and respect for the missions. In the VK story, I guarantee that you'll end up loving the Johnny Gat character, myself included. He's my favorite character in the whole series and perhaps the best of the bunch, period. He's got a very strong personality and Daniel Day Kim does a phenomenal job delivering his lines. Simply put, he's a bad motherfucker. Who doesn't love one in fiction? Now to explain who she is once and for all, Aisha, played by Cy Smith, is an R&B singer from The Row and Johnny's girlfriend. She's still signed to the Vice Kings label and once out, but in doing so she'd be subject to their scummy tactics, much like real labels, so they'll fake her death by blowing up her car and blowing up the building the label studio is in, adding insult to injury. But there's this crazy fan ramming your car strapped up with bombs, so be careful and lose him, or you can just shoot his ass dead and have a grand old time riding towards Kingdom Come, either or. Sometimes you just gotta find the easy way to complete missions or else they're a pain in the ass to do. Once you send the message, it's now time to get to Tanya, played by Mila Kunis, who's sleeping with the higher-ups of the Vice Kings and Lieutenant Warren Williams and Ben King's bodyguard Tony Green to keep her real intentions secret. More on that later, of course. She's the one who tried to adopt Aisha's sister to force her into prostitution. You get rid of her hired muscle, then get to the brothel where you lay hell on Vice Kings again. This sparks an argument between King, Warren, and Tony. Warren insists on using violence to take care of the Saints, but King is a lot more calm and calculated, allowing it to pass. For now. And I have to point out before I forget that Ben King is played by the late great Michael Clark Duncan. After a stronghold mission at Sunnyvale Loft, you get a call from Johnny before he's interrupted. Plans change, and you're ordered to go back to Prime Court to help out the Saints against the Vice Kings. Once they're all dead, you get another call from Gat. this time telling you to return to the church to get strapped as they're going hard on Tanya, but she's used to that, and her crew. I won't be mentioning strongholds much because, as I said before, they don't have much importance to the main story. Just know that every mission or two there's a stronghold to complete with different objectives each, dismantling different operations the gangs have. Johnny's personality shines a lot in this mission, from the way he picks his weapons in his own charismatic yet menacing manner.
This is always the hardest part for me, you know? Balancing stopping power with personal enjoyment.
To his dialogue as you're riding towards the abandoned police station to take down some BKs.
After we're through with this whore, I want to find Big Tony. You listen to Julius talk about the guy, he makes it sound like he's built like a fucking APC. Well, I'm looking forward to taking him apart. I got a good feeling about this. I think it'll be a nice bonding experience.
The aim is now to kill Tanya, but the obstacle is a heavily guarded building full of armed BKs. Even with Johnny, there are plenty of them for you to practice your skills on. After looking back in this mission, a deep flaw in this game that you might have noticed starts becoming apparent, and it's one I should have talked about earlier. Yeah, about that. One of Saints Row's fatal flaws is that there's no half-mission checkpoints. It ranges from mildly annoying for having to drive to the mission start again, to very frustrating because of the things you had to do to even get to the second half in the first place. At the start, it felt thrilling, like part of the action. Then it was just BS, but we'll get to that later. Be that as it may, when you're done mowing down BKs, you and Johnny get to Tanya, but Tony's right there to stop both of you. Of course, Johnny doesn't really care.
If I were you, I'd listen to the lady.
Well, of course you would, you being a bitch.
Watch your fucking mouth.
As you could have imagined, this led to him getting hit, shot, and kidnapped. But not before Tony tells Gab that the VK's connection to the police helped them out in the war with the Saints, and that they only got so far because Ben King allowed them to. After getting shot in the knee, Gad attacks Tony with a blade and tells Player to escape. Once he does, Julius calls him and tells him to get to the church as soon as possible. And you have to. The cops are chasing you because they work for Ben King. Warren keeps strongly doubting Benjamin King's calm demeanor about this whole appeal, but King reassures him by reminding him of his place in the music industry, and that getting him shot because he wants to prove himself just isn't worth it. His time will come. In the business, we call this foreshadowing. Tony may be big and mean, but he's still got feelings that get hurt, evidently. Because after Johnny said all those hurtful words about Tanya and Warren, he doesn't let her out of his sight unless she's being driven to the rebuilding of the destroyed Kingdom Come records in a limo. Unbeknownst to him, that's exactly where Tanya gets with Warren to get her freak on. Julius sees this as a perfect opportunity to get the chauffeur out of the limo and take his place until you get to Tony's home. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, let's just see. Getting the chauffeur and driving Tanya around the places she wants to go is the easy part. It all seems fine and dandy listening to Tanya yap about her gripes with the Vice Kings, King, Tony, Warren, etc. until...
Hey, player. We got a problem. Some of Troy's crew didn't hear the plan and decided they were going to hit Tanya when she was in her limo. These are our boys, and I don't want them getting hurt.
Oh shit. You better start running. Some of Troy's men supposedly didn't hear about the plan and decided to attack Tanya, unaware of you being the chauffeur. So you can't hurt them, you simply have to lose them, and that's the hardest part of the mission. It's not so bad, but it can take a while to lose them completely.
Good job. Remind me to give you a tip.
Brother,
After that, you drop Tanya off at Big Tony's place before you knock her ass out and go in to take on Green and kill the rest of the VKs there to rescue Johnny. It's a simple enough mini-boss, and after you untie Johnny, he tells you that Green's got something big in the back. So far, I have to praise the writing and voice acting of Tanya. The rest of the VKs don't elicit the same amount of annoyance from me as she does. It makes you look forward to her downfall, and that'll make it all the more sweeter, but more on that later. I also love Ben King. I'm a big fan of that type of collected antagonist. It makes them all the more menacing. Of course, Warren is a perfect foil for him. Outspoken, violent, and desperate to prove his worth. After Dex comes up with another ingenious plan, it's time to wreak some havoc, dressed up in gold, pretending to be part of the Vice King.
Put these on.
I'm yellow enough as it is, Dex.
Just put the damn shirt on.
And oh boy, it's a really fun mission to do. Just blow some shit up and shoot a lot of people with Gad and his whack-ass robo-leg to get the press's attention, and you're set for the next phase. Killing shopkeepers. So much for no murdering, Dex. Also, Johnny's voice lines are pretty funny in this, saying things like,
King! Johnny King! Ben King's nephew!
After putting down the bowling pin statues, you break down Alderman Hugh's statue with a bulldozer. This causes tension between the Alderman and Benjamin King, and tensions with Warren arise again.
Yo, fuck that! This is what gives us power.
Now get the fuck out of my office.
After this comes Round Peg Square Hole, and I love this mission, man. Johnny's plans just rock. He just stole missiles from Tony before leaving with Playa, because of course he did. So you have to protect Johnny's car while he drives around, and you have to shoot straight rockets at the meetings between the VKs and the cops for protection money at different places. It's just a blast, man. Maybe my chimp brain isn't advanced enough to enjoy the more difficult missions as much, but hey, I just really enjoy these types of missions. Can you blame me? Anyway, after we're done with that, we're transported to Ben King having a cold cut short with Chief Monroe. I'll just let the clip play.
You've been putting yourself before the crew. If you hadn't wasted our time sticking your nose up them white boys' asses, we could've owned the whole damn game by now.
I told you before, we ain't getting into that shit.
And why the fuck not? That's where the money is. Man, if you got down with that shit back in the day, the Carnales would have been ghosts right now. But you didn't, did you? You were too much of a pussy then, and you're too much of a pussy now. Fuck!
You forgot who you talking to. My name is Benjamin motherfucking King. I'm the man who took my crew from being a bunch of baby gangsters in Sunnyvale to being one of the most influential and feared forces in the goddamn city. You know how I did that? I did it by knowing when it was time to build, when it was time to watch, and when it was time to act.
Yo, fuck that. You ain't hearing me.
What is this?
I built, I watched, and now I'm acting.
Oh man, shit's getting real. Julius barges into the church looking for Gat, but finds Playa and tells him to go find the cornered king to save him. Julius says he owes him from way back in the day when they were Vice Kings together. Ben talks more about it in the next mission, but for now, you gotta get his ass back to safety from a hell of a lot of VKs and then even Warren's little ass. This mission isn't so bad, and it's even better if you have your homies by your side. Once you take care of the situation, Tanya reveals her true intentions by killing Warren and thus asserting herself as the new and sole leader of the Vice Kings. Ben King is now in the church in a meeting with Julius, Johnny, and Playa. He's given a choice: keep his pride and get a bullet straight to the skull courtesy of Gat, or walk away like a man, accepting that the Vice Kings will be done after they deal with Tanya. The plan for this mission is simple, but my god, can it be a pain in the ass. See, all you have to do is get their attention in certain hideouts to lead them to the cops' ambush. Simple, right? Wrong! They're heavily armed and will destroy your car in a few seconds if possible. I was nervous trying to get to the police ambushes without my car being completely wrecked, or having homies with me shooting the cars before their time. It's definitely a tense mission, but you can steal new cars thankfully. As I said, Ben talks about his past with Julius some more in this mission.
So does Julius ever talk about growing up in Sunnyvale? What? You thought he was from the road? The problem with bearing the past is that you forget about it. You know what I'm saying? I bet Julius gave you the whole "I don't care what flag the flying" speech, didn't he? I wrote that shit years ago, and the motherfucker still hadn't forgotten it.
As well as some prophetic words for Playa.
You know that even if you wipe out the Vice Kings, it ain't gonna be over, right? There's always someone looking to take what you have. Some punk wants to make a name for himself. Some girl you fucked and never called back.
Now every bit of this has led to here, the final mission of the Vice King story. And I gotta say, I hate this mission! To get to Tanya, you have to get the code out of some Eurotrash motherfucker named Stefan, who you hear in the radio and ads promoting his clothing store actually. But anyway, you have to drive fast around town to get the answers out of Stefan as he's dangling out of the window without killing him, but that's way easier said than done because the cops are all over your ass. You need at least one stop to forgive and forget, and that's already hard enough to do. This is the type of mission where not having checkpoints becomes way too apparent. And plus you have to arrive in King's car or else you fail and you have to do the trip and the interrogation with the cops all over you again. Once you get to the penthouse, you have to kill a fuck ton of DKs, and as challenging as it is, that is nothing compared to the Stefan interrogation.
Where now?
The penthouse.
I'm gonna skull fuck that bitch.
Hope you don't mind hepatitis.
What?
Once that's done, you go to Tanya's office where she's waiting for you with an AK-47, but she gets her ass pumped full of lead. There's something poetic about Tanya, who used her charms to get whatever she wanted in the gang, having her face contorted into an ugly mask brimming with fear when she's face to face with her fate. King steps on her hand as she holds on and she falls to her death, right on King's car. A car which you earned after this whole campaign, as well as his penthouse, Johnny's car, and the Vice King's cars. Not to mention the final neighborhood owned by the Vice Kings. The Vice Kings are nothing but a ghost now, which leads us to... Like I said in the beginning, I personally think the Westside Rollerz are the least interesting gang in the game, and their missions are kinda repetitive since they're all core-based. I do like Lynn as a character, but I'll do my best to be concise to prevent this video from being overdrawn. Not to say there's no value in this story, even if it's a tragic one. Lynn, being undercover, tells you everything you have to do in order to sabotage the Rollerz. They have a cargo of cars incoming, so you have to do a simple mission here. Grab a car, shoot the truck until it stops, and steal it to put it in a certain location to modify the cars with explosives. It's an easy mission to start things out. While in the club, Lynn drags you in for a dance to reveal something else. These cars you just stole from the Rollerz are going to be used in a race. And if you get the lead, they're for sure going to use the nitros, and once those cars are hot, in this mission you ride with Troy, who will taunt and instigate the racing Rollerz with some hilarious lines as well as this important tidbit of monologue from him.
I don't like the idea of Lynn going undercover. You roll with people long enough, and pretty soon you start thinking like them.
Lynn tells you that while things are going slow, she finds out that a man named Joseph Price is the boss of the Rollerz, and that he's good friends with a mechanic by the name of Donnie. By getting into their good graces, Lynn thinks they'll always be one step ahead, but don't mess up her ride. With that being said, the plan is clear. Playa has to invade Donnie's workshop and Lynn saves the day, where you have to let them get away. It's an inside job pretty much. This is pretty much another relatively easy mission. You show up, kill some Rollerz, kill Donnie's bodyguards, and wait for Lynn to go for the rescue. From that point on, and after messing up Lynn's ride, you chase them then let them get away. This half actually took me 2 tries. Not for its difficulty, but because Lynn's AI kept crashing, getting stuck, and then she drove into the river. Remember what I said about foreshadowing? Anyway, man, it's not a charming old game without some jank, that's the beauty of it. With that out of the way, the meeting between Donnie, Lynn, and this Joseph Price character, along with his cold-blooded uncle, Mr. Will Sharp, played by the legendary David Carradine, is not exactly happy to see a stranger in his home. After Lynn introduces herself, Donnie slips up about a convoy going on, which doesn't exactly amuse Sharp, and who could blame him? Guys just spewing your secret plans up in front of a random person. But anyway, Lynn calls Playa to inform him about the convoy and your mission begins. Get to the trucks before the Rollerz do and protect said trucks from them. Donnie and supposedly Lynn come up with a plan to recuperate their losses after the failed convoy. Steal key cards for their components. Of course, Sharp dryly undermines Donnie's plan and Lynn pushes back. Tensions are rising, and the boiling point isn't too far off from now. One step ahead is very similar to the escort service. You get to certain vehicles before the Rollerz do, but this time, you destroy said vehicles instead of protecting them, preventing the Rollerz from getting the parts they need. Both missions are just fine. They're fun, just kinda samey. Nothing to say here, really.
Fuck!
That was productive.
Remember when I said the boiling point wasn't too far off? Well, I'll just let the clip roll, see for yourself.
Quite a coincidence.
What do you mean?
Well, let's think. The same 4 people knew about those jobs. If I didn't sell us out, and you didn't sell us out, who else is there?
Donnie? Donnie may not like it when things get messy, but there's no way he'd turn on me.
Which brings us to...
Lynn.
Bravo.
Playa gets a seemingly innocuous call from Lynn, just telling him that the Rollerz have something big planned. Unbeknownst to him, Lynn is being held hostage at the pool hall by Sharp. Once you get there, it's an ambush. There's a fuck ton of Rollerz and even more that come in cars until the front door. It's simple and straightforward, but if you die, it's just whatever, you'll get it next time. You won't need more than 2 tries if even. When Playa tries to reach for Lynn, he gets his head bashed in with a baseball bat twice, only to wake up in the trunk of Lynn's car with her inside. Sharp opens the trunk to shout Donnie exactly that, just to shoot Lynn in the ribcage in front of a now distraught Donnie. Sharp nonchalantly tells him the truth and asks for a hand in pushing the car to the river. This only makes him live in his grief.
Children.
Now that the car is down, Lynn finds a lighter to set one of them free. She laughs at Donnie calling her his girl. Only one of them makes it out alive, and that's Playa. In her final moments, Lynn saves Playa but drowns. Donnie spends the rest of his story absent, stricken by grief for the loss of his love, even if she was a traitor. Like I said, it's sad, but Playa swims up, grabs a car, and gets right into chasing Sharp. This is where the mission gets hard. Once again, you'll have a swarm of rollers preventing you from having a clear shot on Sharp's car. In my experience, I had to switch cars multiple times. Once Sharp's car is done for, you can finally get your revenge by getting rid of him. But this is not over yet. As Julius breaks the news to Playa, the rollers get ready to burn it all to the ground. There's not much time to bring the fight to them, so you and Julius drive behind them to stop them one by blowing up the cars. My kind of mission. Unfortunately, Price is able to get away.
Nigga, you should buckle your seatbelt.
And quick side note here, I said I wouldn't cover strongholds, but this one is important, and I gotta say, fuck Price's mansion. Oh my god! It took me 4 tries to get it right, because there's just swarms of rollers, and when you got Price's car, they were crashing against me and turning me over like a damn turtle on his shell. But anyway, after this stronghold, you get a call from Joseph Price, who wants to end this now. The final mission of the rollers, just like every final mission in this game, is an absolute pain in the ass. You have to chase Joseph Price on the highway and shoot the cars his truck is carrying to later shoot the cab. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong! You'll have rollers cars on your ass and Price throwing bombs at you, which will catch you off guard if you're too focused on shooting. You need to find the right angle to shoot and not get hit with bombs, while also avoiding crashing and being shot at by the rollers. It took me 100 tries to finally get it done, not only because of the aforementioned missions, but also because right when I was about to finish the cab, my car exploded. It's odd, because I've been told this is the easiest final mission of the bunch, and I've tried less times to complete the final Vice Kings mission, but whatever the case may be, this boss mission just sucks, man. I just wasn't having a good time, and it was a relief when it was all over. But hey, you get a lot of cars, money, and the Price's mansion as the crib. So it wasn't for nothing.
That was a hell of an explosion. You okay, player?
I got ran over by a motherfucking truck. What'd you think?
Oh, quit being a bitch.
This leads to the last gang of the bunch. Los Carnales are the oldest gang in Stillwater. They were the first group to disrupt the peace in the city to claim it as theirs until the Vice King stepped up with Ben King and Julius. Now, they're led by the Lopez brothers, Hector and Angelo. One is cold and ruthless, and the other, for the lack of a better term, is just batshit insane.
Ese viejo sucio maricón, yo le mato si le toca luz.
That's not all though. They're accompanied by their unbelievably tough lieutenant, Victor, and backed by the largest drug cartel in the world, owned by the Colombians. In order to take down Los Carnales, you have to attack their income first. You do this by putting down some drug labs and then chasing after shipments. When Troy and Dex are in the planning stage for your next move,
cops try that shit all the time and it never works.
They tell you that they know where the Los Carnales...
The Carnales.
What?
Rio Grande River. Jesus.
What the fuck?
It's not the Los Carnales, it's just the Carnales. Los means... fuck it.
So you have to get the truck and escort it back while a very curious Troy drives it back to the row.
I really should have paid attention when they were teaching hot wiring.
It's a decent enough mission and I don't have much to say yet, but just know that things will get real in this section of the game. I know you've probably gotten the idea from me yapping earlier about the difficulty of this game and how you have to get used to it if you're coming from other Saints Row games, but this time I really do mean it. Regardless of that, this only makes things more complicated for the Lopez family and the Colombians. Angelo is insane, the Colombian is hitting on his wife, and Hector gets the call that the Saints are taking care of their shipment right in front of the Colombian. If there's one thing about the Carnales is, they're not exactly stable. But the one thing they're surely stable as hell in is combat and killing people, shown by Victor and Angelo in the row killing a bunch of Saints. The row is full of Carnales and you, yes you, have to take care of the nationally ambiguous Latin asses. Seriously, what country are these dudes from? I'm a Latin guy myself, just like a Latin Mike over here, and I can't decipher it, but I digress. This is a fun mission. You just kill a bunch of dudes, but be careful at the end because it's the beginning of one of the most annoying parts of this entire run. RPG wielding Carnales. Though if you have a long distance weapon like a rifle, surely it's not that big of a deal, but I can absolutely understand it if it gives you trouble on the first playthrough. Speaking of fun and killing lots of dudes, Dex's next plan is to fill a truck full of saints and drive it to the Carnales production plant and just rain hell on those bastards. The best part is that there's a lot of explosive barrels to shoot, so you can just watch the Los Carnales,
not the Los Carnales. Jesus, what's wrong with you?
Burn and fall down. Just stay close to your homies and make sure to revive them and you'll be fine. This, intensified with Angelo's loud jealousy, puts Hector in a really tight spot. Manuel Orejuela tells Hector that they'll talk more about this later when they meet at the docks, which is something Dex and Troy get a tip about. Using the McManus sniper rifle, you're going to take out Hector and his lieutenants in a sneaky attack to blame the Colombians. Who am I kidding? I used the rocket launcher to blow up their cars and then hide for dear life when the RPG Carnales shoot at me. Funnily enough, that's exactly when the McManus comes into play. You hide for dear life and aim at the lieutenants holding RPGs. It's a tense standoff, to be honest, and it definitely had me biting my nails in fear because at this stage of the game I was not going to try this mission with no checkpoints again. The surviving members of the incident are arrested by the Stillwater police once they get an anonymous tip. However, unlike Hector, Victor still lives and informs Angelo about it while he's getting some action. He got my guy in hysterics while getting sucked off. Of course, he thinks the Colombians and Orejuela are behind it, just as planned. Next, we're going to meet with Manuel to see what his deal is before acting too soon. Once we get to the strip club, because of course the freaky old man would be there, we instead are welcomed by crazy-ass Victor with his massive truck, chasing us and with some Carnales cars as backup. This mission took me a while to finally get right in my very first playthrough of the game, but you have multiple options to make it really. You can either shoot Victor's ass with the RPG first things first, throw grenades during the chase, or just pick a really fast car and hold up for dear life. I was doing the latter, and that's what I wasn't making it. In the background footage, however, I did lose them, but they chased me to the road. I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but I just RPG'd their asses into oblivion. The RPG really is the all reliable. I love it whenever it's not being used against me, I really do. If there is someone who isn't happy about this whole ordeal besides the Carnales though, it's Julius. He's not pleased at all at Playa and Dex going to meet the Colombian without him. After all, he is the leader. Oh shit, there's a lot of Carnales. Protect the church, Playa! Another challenging but straightforward mission is putting hordes of Carnales in the dirt and following the crew around the church to protect it. It's fucking sick when you revive your followers and eat burgers to replenish your health and when needed, and trust me, you do forget about it when you're caught up in the action of just killing a bunch of them. Anyways, at one point, Victor comes around with this big old truck around the road. You can already guess which weapon I used on him, right? But it's not over yet. Victor is out of the truck on flames. Pump him full of lead. Meanwhile, Angelo continues to seemingly get more and more volatile and unhinged. This time, he's about to get hands-on about things because he thinks he's being betrayed. Once you're done with an annoying stronghold that includes RPG Carnales, Julius and Orejuela come up with an agreement. If you can take all the drugs the cops have, the Colombians would work with the Saints exclusively. Of course, Troy has his doubts in taking the entire police station, so he comes up with another plan. Blow up the evidence room's wall and cover the hole with a truck full of Saints so they can get the drugs. Once that's done, you have to protect the truck for 3 whole minutes. And it can get pretty dull, but once you're done there, pick up the truck and drive towards the garage. This mission has me biting my nails and clenching my ass because the cops not only were on my ass the whole time, but they also didn't let me enter the garage properly for a solid minute. I was like, oh god, I didn't want to do this thing again. But in the end, I did it first try. When Orejuela and Julius finally shake hands on the deal, Angelo barges in, shooting anything that moves and gets away with it. Luckily, Dex, Orejuela, Julius, and Playa survive, but Angelo flees. Manuel gives us Angelo's address as payment. Man sold him out just like that, straight doxed to the rival gang. Guess what happens between these two missions? That's right, another stronghold. But guess what else? It has more Carnales with RPGs, baby! But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to invade Angelo's home, take down a lot of Carnales, and take his ass out. Just be cautious about your health and revive Dex when needed. Once you get to Angelo, he's out of bullets, so he flees as fast as he can. Now comes the other section of the mission. You have to protect Dex's car from other Carnales as he chases down Angelo. Dex's driving AI is kinda slow, and I'm not just talking about the speed here, so you have to do the best of it when it comes to protecting his car. Right when you're about to catch up to him, the bridge starts to rise up. Angelo, being the crazy motherfucker he is, steps on the gas pedal to jump to the other side. Dex, being the smartass he is, brakes on the right second to save his and play his ass. And turns out, Dex was right. There's not many places Angelo can go to now. He's going to the airport, so you better hurry and go there with Dex to take him down. Now, fair warning guys, this is the final mission of a gang storyline in Saints Row 1. At this point, you know what that means. That's right, it's a pain in the ass and really difficult. It's just not fun. After Angelo leaves Luz behind to save his own ass in the plane, you have to destroy the plane while Dex drives, and like I said, the AI in this game could use some improvement. My main man Dex is just driving around the airport giving us a tour while we're being shot at with rocket launchers. It's really annoying, and those RPG wielding Carnales are no joke. I can't choose who's the worst part of the mission, them or Dex's driving. Who gave them RPGs? Who thought they were cooking with that? My advice? Just shoot everything that moves with an RPG and you might make it to the end. Taking them down with just a rifle or something takes precise aiming that you won't get on your first try. But once they're taken care of, just shoot the plane with everything you have. And by that I mean, use the holy or unholy RPG. 3 rockets and boom, he's dead. Finally! After you're done with Angelo, Luz arrives late. You tell her to fuck off. That's not very nice of you, but Dex tells you.
You know what? I think Julius was right about you.
We did it, player. 3rd Street owns this town. Now that's not to say shit didn't cost. And I ain't talking about what happened to Johnny's leg or losing limb. Those 2 were soldiers. They knew the risk. Hell, Johnny gets off on it. We crushed a lot of families, player, and someday they're gonna holler at us. But believe me when I tell you, we did the right thing. With the Rollerz wiped out, Benjamin gone, and the Colombians in our pocket, there ain't gonna be a need for a gang war ever again. And in the end, that's gonna save a lot more lives than we took. So relax, player. You earned yourself a break. You've impressed the hell out of me, son. And I told the crew, you're gonna be my right hand. Hold up. Some Barry just turned on his flashes. Yeah, player. I think I'm gonna have to call you back. This may take a while.
Just say the word.
At long last, after all your efforts and every sacrifice, Stillwater is yours. The Saints rule every corner of it, and you're Julius's right-hand man now. But unfortunately, we find out the real motives of the police chasing Julius. Just when you think things have come to an end, you get a call from Chief Monroe.
This is Chief Monroe. If you want Julius back, listen to what I've got to say. Now, that stunt you pulled downtown with a rocket launcher cost my associates and I quite a bit of money. Now, I may not be an honest man, but I'm a fair one. So rather than turn Saints Row into a parking lot, I'm gonna let you work off what you owe me. There's a mayoral campaign going on, and I want one of the candidates taken off the ballot. Marshal Winslow is in his campaign bus right now, and he has an appointment with the northbound. Park that bus on the train tracks tonight, or you'll find Julius's body floating in the river tomorrow. Don't disappoint me. Julius is counting on you.
You have no other option. To see Julius, you have to do as he says and get the truck on the train track. Now, this is a simple enough mission. You just have to make sure to travel to the location specified as soon as possible so you have time to put the bus on the train tracks because it's painfully slow. And besides that, get ready to fight a lot of cops. Not just in this one, but also in the next and final mission of the game. In order to exact revenge on Monroe for what he's done, Gat and Dex finally agree on something. They're going to kill the chief of police during the funeral procession. But trust me when I say it's way easier said than done. The plan is simple. Snipe Monroe from the rooftops, as he will be in the cop car. Shit, there's a lot of them. I, like any reasonable human being, just use the RPG along with Johnny as backup to destroy every cop car. Now it's time to run and make sure you get a tough-ass car like the FBI ones, or to constantly switch cars to get to a forgive and forget. Which, mind you, is the actual difficult part of the mission because you have all those cops on your ass and you need to go to the furthest forgive and forget possible. And let me tell you, this mission, much like many others, can be an absolute pain in the ass. Before you go to the final cutscene of the game, Salting the Earth, Make sure to save your game if you want to keep roaming around Stillwater. Words can't possibly do it justice, so I'll let it play for you. I know I've said it before, but this time you have to see it to believe it.
Your guest is here, Mr. Hughes.
Thanks, Stephen. If you don't mind, could you wait outside? I'm Richard Hughes. It is a pleasure to meet the man who handed me the election. No need to be modest, I'm serious. There's no way I could have beaten Marshal Winslow. God rest his soul. But you made the impossible happen, and for that, I can't thank you enough. I mean, had Winslow been the only person killed, attention would have definitely been cast on me. But after that fireworks display you pulled at his funeral, it's become abundantly clear these horrible crimes were perpetrated by the 3rd Street Saints. While before people criticized my Saints Row urban renewal plan, it is now being lauded. See, until you came along, I was displacing poor people. Now, I'm destroying a hotbed of gang activity. What can I say? The public is fickle. Champagne. As you get older, you quickly learn that there are only 2 types of people in this world. Race, money, gender, none of this matters. At the end of the day, you're either a winner or a loser. Now, the sad truth about our situation is that in order for me to be a winner, I have to level your neighborhood and salt the earth. Hold on for a moment. Stephen, could you come in here? Where was I? Oh yes, salting the earth. Now I suppose I could try to pay you off, but really, what's the point? You just say no. Or in your case, stand there looking intimidating and we'd be right back to where we started. So I figured I'd cut the middleman and get right to the point.
Yo, can you speed this shit up? I wanna go to Freckle Bitches.
You're going to die here, son. Make no mistake about that. But if it makes it any easier on you, I'll be sure to thank you in my acceptance speech. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a party to...
Okay, what in the hell did we just witness? There's so many pieces to put together, like Julius roaming free and just watching, as if he knew what was gonna happen. But why? We completed his mission. We cleaned the streets and, in his own words, prevented another gang war and further bloodshed. Why, Julius? Why? There's also Aisha reflecting on having to fake her own death and having to live another life with Johnny after chasing her dreams of being an R&B singer. Donnie is still thinking on what to do now that the Rollerz are no more and Lynn is gone. But more importantly and more shockingly, Troy being a fucking undercover cop. It all makes sense. Refusing to take care of the Vice Kings due to their connections to the cops, the random tips he gave and received, the shitty plans, not being thrilled about using drugs on the streets, the curiosity on Deck's truck, preventing cop casualties. Man, what an ending. It just has those "we don't know if we're getting a sequel" vibes some media have, where they just make it seem definitive. It's an absolutely crazy ending, especially if we're considering everything the player has gone through. This is an unforgiving game in even more ways than you could possibly imagine. Before we go into my verdict, I was so laser focused on the gameplay and story that I forgot to mention just how good the voice acting and writing are. They're 2 of the strongest aspects of this game. The cast and Steve Jaros, main writer of the series, do a fantastic job of bringing these characters and this world to life. It's truly fantastic stuff, and the radio soundtrack has catchy songs like Aisha's songs performed by Cy Smith herself and more. Much more. Of course, it has some more good stuff. I didn't expect to see New Year's Day, a band I listened to in high school, or the likes of MF Doom to be featured. Making playlists and being able to listen to your music on foot is still a fun feature. With that being said, I don't feel as attached to the soundtrack as I do with others in the series, which we will see later on. Mainly because in a lot of missions, I played with no music because I just wanted to get the missions done and I was just laser focused like I said. Going back to my main points, if you're coming from Saints Row the 3rd or Saints Row 2, games which have served as many people's introduction to the series, Saints Row 1 might feel a little bit clunky and occasionally impossibly difficult, and honestly, I don't blame you. It's a game that takes time to get used to. Lord knows I found out the hard way. With that being said, it's definitely a game you enjoy the most on your second or even third attempt. I say this because this game deserves a chance and deserves to be remembered as the start of a beloved series. It's a good but flawed game. At a certain point, it becomes a slog to get through, especially with some difficult missions like the final ones of each gang. With its flaws being said multiple times over, however, I believe it to be a very necessary experience. Not only as an introduction to the roots of the franchise, its characters and world, but also as the prelude of the most beloved entry in the series. I do like this game, and I did enjoy it when it wasn't a pain in the ass, but it doesn't hold up as well as its sequels do. I believe it's a game that you fully enjoy in the second or third playthrough due to its difficulty. It's rough around the edges and dated, but you can't deny that it's a good game. More than just a GTA clone, and the beginning of something greater for the franchise. I'd compare it to GTA 3 in that sense. You can say it's difficult, that it hasn't aged the best, and a lot more. But one thing you can't ever call this game is boring or forgettable. Thank you for watching, everybody. This is my very first video essay, and I gotta say I'm very proud of it. However, if you have constructive criticism, please let me know in the comments and please be civil about it, and I'll be on my way to improve whatever I can to make these videos better. I just thought that the people need more good, positive Saints Row content. These games are worthy of, the exposure they deserve to be talked about. And this is just my little contribution to the community. I can't wait to delve more into Saints Row 2 and its sequels and what went wrong and all that good stuff. But for now, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye and good night. Bang!